How you guys doing? Hey Shiro, how you doing? Let's call Tim.
Well,
Hello. You wanna? Can you hear me? Okay. I heard you for a second there.
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, go ahead and talk for a second. I just want to make sure your volume is good.
Yeah. Hello, hello.
Yeah, golden, dudes. So you know what's really crazy is there's three there's three people from the United States in this call tonight. So now I'm realizing why it's so difficult
Nice.
to contact you guys. It's like the time zones are getting us good. Anyways, would
Yeah,
you
I
yeah,
had
go
to
ahead.
take off from work.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I can only hear you through the stream, I guess. All right.
Oh really? You can't hear me on your phone?
Oh, I actually I'm home. I'm on the Discord app.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's weird. You can't hear me on Discord.
No.
Oh man. Okay, this is gonna get interesting. Uh, we'll ride with it. We'll make it work. Do you want to introduce yourself? I'll just give you time as well to like answer your questions. We're gonna work with this delay.
Yeah, yeah, that works. Yeah, I'm I'm Tim Dunn. I've been doing this for a while. I have a almost 23-year career. Started off in the late 90s and not ever really working in games or anything like that, but just been working in 3D for basically my entire adult life. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The industry I work in, we make simulators and training products and stuff like that.
Oh, so okay, so you do 3D full time as well then.
Yeah, I do.
Oh man. Okay, this delay is gonna be fun. Okay, so when I look at your
Let
portfolio,
me turn
just
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
Twitch volume and see if I can get it to work.
Okay. Oh yeah, we can wait for a minute. I'll be talking to chat while you see if you can hear me or not. Uh Oyson, how you doing, man? Grizzle, yo. Yeah, I can't believe it's Thursday. It's kind of crazy. Sandy, what's up?
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm getting nothing on
Really?
Discord, so sorry about that.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good. Um oh, that is so strange. I wonder if you're able to we'll ride with it. So I'll just say like right now when I look at your portfolio, what I see is just from the thumbnails, I see a lot of like how would you describe it? Like technical stuff, like vehicles and uh, like this whole category is
Mhm.
vehicles and buildings. And I guess this is all because of the simulation stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is there is there anything that right now when you look at your portfolio that you feel like you're missing, just out of curiosity?
Um, really just feels like environments is the main thing.
Yeah, just environments
I
in
think I have
general.
a lot of
So
technical
yeah.
hard surface that really feels like my weak point right now, especially Unreal Engine.
Mm. Yeah, Unreal is that's a I mean, I'm going through shader stuff right now because I'm like, okay, I just need to slam my face into it until I get it. Um, so, I mean, when I look at what you're building, I can tell that you understand modeling and you understand textures and materials, especially this futuristic motorcycle. Like, I remember when you posted this, and I was like, yeah, dude, this is starting to touch on like you've got like a style going on. There's a certain type of character to the way that it's even modeled, like the way the edges kind of read throughout the entire asset, and like bringing those types
Mhm.
of details and unifying them uh, is like the next, I guess, would be like the next stage of going outside of just saying, "Oh, I know how to model things." Um, but what do you? How do you feel about this specific asset?
This is sort of where I want to be with probably all of my pieces, but this was very daunting from a time perspective to get complete. So it's really this was I would say this probably took about 6 months of my time to do.
Is there a okay? So when I look at that one versus like the next one, because this one's 2 years ago, and then the stylized asset was a tutorial, but it looks like it was this was a month ago. So it looks like you're trying to, I guess, expand into more of like a stylized direction,
I
or you
posted it a
just
month ago, but I actually did it
yeah.
like in May.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean that's not that long ago. That's still more recent than the motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. And I remember this the invisibility device. I always this word scares me. Every time I see it, I end up reading it, and sometimes it's invincibility because I don't fully read it before saying it out loud. I'm like, no. Uh, yeah. So
One of the things I struggle
yeah.
with is staying focused because you have this sort of well again I work full time, so I come home and it's like, all right, now what? Like the contests and things are really kind of cool ways to dial in and really
Mm. Yeah. If you can do a challenge like
get
those,
an idea for what to work on.
yeah, yeah. Because when you do a challenge, it's like it gives you a direction, like you're saying, and you don't have to think about it too much, and you can just be like, all right, I'm just gonna try and do this thing. Um, which the other nice thing about challenges is they tend to be more compartmentalized. Like as long as you don't try and like make a giant scene, uh, they go pretty far. Um, but like I guess when I
The
look at
timetable's really nice too. That's one of the things I
yeah,
like.
um, sorry, the timetable. What do you
Yeah, I
mean?
like the sorry, the deadline.
Oh right, yeah, having a deadline is actually super important. So when I look at like where you're at now, so you did the Santa's workshop with Shiro, which is maybe why Shiro's in chat.
Yeah.
I mean, Shiro's always in chat, but now he's like,
I'm glad
"Hello."
he's there, man. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. You guys put this together pretty quickly. How was this kind of all like split up?
Um, I have to give Shiro really a huge amount of the credit for this. He did almost all the Unreal Engine work. I really didn't have the experience or knowledge to work efficiently in there, so he did a good chunk of that, and then I kind of helped with some of the more challenging assets, I guess, like the mechanical thing in the left, and then the windows and the fireplace and plants and stuff. I helped him a lot with those, but
Is that
but
I
yeah,
guess when
he
we
was
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
I'll wait for you.
I forgot what I was gonna say. So
Oh, oh man. Well, no, it's all good. So when I look at this scene and we see like the assets that you'd worked on, I guess the with the table, that was Shiro. I take it, and then you said you did the fireplace and the, I guess the furnace present maker.
we didn't really do all of it was really just both of us working on everything.
Okay. How long did you guys spend on this?
So like for instance, the table, I I ended up doing like a block out.
Hmm.
It started off as just a basic, length, width, height thing, and then I took it a level higher than that, and then I handed it off to Shiro, and he took it into ZBrush and did everything else, including the texturing and stuff.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, so it was kind of like a in between. You're doing a lot of blockouts and minus the two assets you mentioned, and Shiro helped you put it all together, as well as like polished up assets and took them. It almost sounds like when you're an environment artist and you want to like you block out the scene and then you hand it over to the props team in the AAA space, and then the props team just kind of handles like the actual final creation of some of most of the assets. Um, is that kind of the direction you want to be going in? Is it do you want to make environments or do you want to like specifically focus on props?
I don't really even know, to be honest. Like I'm pretty happy in my job. I'm content. I've got what I need. Family, kids, house. I kind of live in the American dream, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure that I stay sharp, I guess, and
Mm, yeah. Okay. I when it, okay. So
environment does seem like something I should be adding.
right. Okay. Yeah. So this scene, I think the weakest point right now is actually, and maybe it's because it's Shiro and yourself, and like how the project is kind of shared, but like the darkness in the shadows, like if those can be turned up, like with either the bounce in a lighting bake or like the ambient brightness being turned up, that'll help a lot with, like, you can tell in the second image here, you can see a lot more even in the shadows, and that helps a whole bunch with kind of getting away from the 3D feel. There's like a lot of when the shadows
Mhm.
are dark like this, you tend to get this kind of artificial three-dimensional vibe. Ghost Detector says, "What if the lights had different strength levels?" That could be interesting as well. Like in the this, I'm just gonna start calling it the present furnace. We'll go with that. The present furnace.
Yeah, that's a good
If it
name.
had like a gradient of heat, and just kind of adding gradients in general is where you'll get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to like material work and uh, like for example on the wall.
Yeah, that was something we tried, but
Mm,
we just ran into some challenges with Unreal and getting it to work right.
right. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think how you could, because you could do a gradient in the shader as well, and then you can just with offsetting in the shader you can move where the gradient starts and where it ends, and then you'll be able to, you don't even have to paint it at that point. You can just kind of figure out where it would be in the world space of that asset. But I can find a video and link that to you guys so that you understand the what I'm talking about if that's not making any sense.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. That'll help.
but I mean it's pretty cool that you're just like trying to essentially just stay sharp. I know that like when you're working, it can be it can be pretty daunting to like want to go home and then focus more, especially when you have family and like at, and kids and stuff, you know, and you have all these other I wouldn't say obligations, but all these other things that you want to make sure that you're maintaining as well. Let's see if
Yeah, it's very tempting to just kind of relax and just say, okay, yeah, it's good. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? But
mm,
there's been some recent career pressure to sort of move away from the art side of things, maybe into other things like management, engineering, that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, no, I
yeah,
want to stay here. This is something that's really important to me.
right, yeah, it's when you it I would say it wasn't until recently, like maybe within the last 7 years or last 5 years, that you start to see in the games industry a direction towards like uh, trying to add roles that aren't going into management. Like if you want to keep doing art, how do we how do we allow you to continue to climb that ladder, if you want to call it that, and but still
Hmm.
be doing art and not sitting there and like Jira and tracking tasks and going to meetings, and because that's not for everyone. Not everyone's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
like
basically
that.
what I was doing today.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, yeah. Me too, man. Me too. It was no meetings Thursday, so and I was still very busy. uh, but like when I look at the wire cutter asset here, this gives me the vibe of like when you're looking at like Decagon assets. They're very like high fidelity, like up close. Was it what was the goal of, like, I guess it says to improve your texturing? Is there anything that you're really happy about when you got through this asset?
I think I learned a lot more about Painter. I think one of the things to keep in mind about my experience is that it's really lopsided, right? You know, when you've been making high complexity geometry for 20 years and, you know, Painter's only been out for like 5 or 6, so it's going to be lopsided for me, right? So I feel like I can really just handle geometry very easily, but when it comes to Painter, I'm still, you know, like equivalent to somebody with a year and a half, 2 years of experience. You know what I mean? So it's kind of this awkward um,
It's the
crunchiness, I
battle.
guess,
Yeah, yeah.
between the two skill sets that I'm trying to manage.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do for yourself is like what you're doing here with a reference. Like, is this reference yours? Like, did you take that picture?
Yeah.
Because like
Yep. That's mine.
when you have like the actual physical object with you, and you can tilt it, because like I think that's the way that you can push yourself to get even further in materials is like when you tilt it and you see how the light reacts with the surface and seeing actually how the roughness is in front of you. Um, I think that's where
This was
like where
cool
you
because
can
I
push
actually
that detail.
I just took a video with my
Mm.
phone and sort of rotated it next to a window so I could
Oh
see
yeah,
all the specular information that way.
that's awesome. Yeah, because like that's really how you push it. And looking at those details and adding the logic to like where the damage happens is how you get those assets that somehow just look super real. I I think when I look at this one, I feel like the metal might be a little dark.
That's
Say again?
Yeah, that was a real hard part, especially with things that you know are metal, but they're dark colors. So it's yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to balance the PBR because my way of understanding it is that there are elements of the material that are metallic, but then there's also like a finish or some kind of a coating, some kind of a
Yeah, there's something on here.
chemical thing on it that's actually not metallic. So you have to kind of the technique I use, and this might be like horrible, but is to actually not have it 0 or 1, but to have
Hmm.
it kind of in between. Which I'm probably going to get crucified in the chat for that, but
No, no. Uh, I mean, I think when it comes to making your own personal stuff, there is that kind of battle of like, okay, like is it 0 or 1? Is it metallic or not? And for games, it's like it's a big deal just from like a technical art standpoint. But because we're physically based, not physically correct, like we're not physically correct rendering,
Mhm.
we're physically based rendering. So that there's not enough fidelity in order to appreciate or be able to actually pull off that that type of detail. Curious says hi, by the way. She's like, make sure he's. Uh, but yeah, I know you're totally
Hello.
right in that approach. Um, Having that, it looks like some type of coating to probably to protect it from like rusting or aging quickly. Whereas like the sharp parts, like where it actually needs to cut or yeah, where it needs to cut or strip, is the exposed metal. Um, for doing what you're talking about, a lot of the times, what I would do is just like you make both materials and then you actually have a mask that helps you expose between the two, and that can give
Mhm.
you the fidelity I think that you're looking for. And if you get gray values in there, you can like in that mask you can adjust the contrast to sharpen it up if you need to. And you'll notice you actually get a much
Yeah,
finer
this
detail.
asset's like my grunge
Mm.
workshop. Basically, I went and just wanted to learn everything about how to apply grunge, and I definitely picked up a lot of really good techniques in Painter from doing it that I've
Mm.
been able to use with stuff at work. But then I can't actually show any of that. So
Yeah. Yeah, is that so the stuff you do at work you're not able to post, right? Is that what I get out of that?
that's correct. Yeah.
Man, okay. Yeah, there's been a few people that have posted about that, or have been in portfolio reviews and they can't show anything basically. Um, Before I go to the Drawtober stuff, I just wanted to comment on that. So Shark in here's for something this dark, for material reference, I would flood it with soft light and make the reference images as flat as possible. That's good for. I would say it's probably good for the albedo pass, right? To understand the colors of the albedo itself, because I bet this is actually quite a bit brighter than what you have in real life. Like if this was lighter, the black value, it would probably be even closer to what you're seeing in your reference, which sounds insane, but yeah. Oh yeah, Shark says yeah for albedo values. So,
I will add one more thing on this, which is
mm.
that I've learned this recently with my artwork, is I reach a point where I get it as good as I'm capable of getting it, and then I keep working on it and eventually start to make it worse.
Yeah,
So I've learned to kind of figure out where that point is and just stop.
right. I mean, the the big benefit you have there is knowing where to stop, because like that stopping point, uh usually the first time you hit the moment of like, okay, I should probably stop, that's when I would show people and get their reactions, because they will give you a whole other set of like, like a different set of eyes on the asset, and then you could
Mhm.
take some of their feedback and see what it does, see if it helps you, and then after that,
Actually
when
did
you,
that. I
yeah,
brought it into critiques
mm.
and then it immediately made it worse as soon as I started working
Oh,
with it again. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing this wrong.
I wanted, so okay, because it's also a combination of like, taking the feedback, not saying that you didn't understand the feedback, but seeing their response and their reactions and like what they're saying in critique, and then adapting that and seeing, not saying like, oh, what they said, that's how you fix it, but what are they seeing as the problem? Because then you can actually try to address the problem. Whereas if you try and just do what someone says, like then you're just replicating what they said. Um, yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, I found that doesn't really work out very well for me when I try and do that because
Mm,
every artist is really different in their approach, and it's tough really to, oh, I would do this, and you're like, okay, but man, you're a different person, so it doesn't always work out.
yeah, it's like when someone says, "Oh, I would do this." The next question I would usually ask is, "How come?" or like, "Why?" And then they actually in their solution tell you what the problem is they're trying to fix, and that's what you actually need to know is the problem
Mm.
that's getting them to want to tell you, the feedback, right? Um,
Yeah,
but
I think for my next
yeah,
project, I'm
mm,
actually going to do it in stages where I'm just going to get the mesh and have the mesh critiqued, and then you know do it in pieces and parts so that there's still this ability to adjust those components before they all come together at the end, and then you're kind of
right,
everything's interacting with everything, and you can't change it in this one area without affecting something else. It just gets really challenging to make it better at that point.
right. Yeah, it's like after the modeling stage, you want to get feedback on the model, say, yeah, the model looks good. And then once you do the bake, then all the feedback should be about the material work. Because if you can't really go back and,
Mhm.
I mean, you could go back. It's a lot of work to go back, right? Getting used to going back and forth is really important
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
one of the things that the 20 years of experience makes kind of difficult is I kind of know better than to do that. Like once you get to a certain point with it, it's like, okay, no, you don't go
Yeah,
back anymore. You have to
like
kind of.
I can't do that feedback because that'll require me to go backwards. Okay, so for the rest of your portfolio, I would say, I guess because you're focusing on 3D, uh, the Drawtober stuff is really cool. I don't know that it's Drawtober, so I think if there was some type of, unless I mouse over it, right? I think if there was some type of text or anything that was on top of it, and then if it was moved to like the tail end of your portfolio, I guess it depends what you want to be showing, right? Because like it looks like it's going from most recent to least recent, like newest to oldest.
Yeah, it's chronological.
Because you could take the most like the stylized asset tutorial and the futuristic, motorcycle. Man, those look so good. Like those up front with your Santa's workshop and your, wire cutters, I think are the strongest things on here. I think with the invisibility, device, this thing was a heavy hitter
Yeah,
for
this one
you.
just kind of fell flat on the process.
Well, it's just a lot of stuff to manage, a lot of details to handle. So I get the intensity of this piece. It becomes very, unwieldy, if you want to call it that.
That's one of the issues I have
Yeah,
because that's like probably the thing that I'm best at is handling this level of complexity stuff, right? That's kind of
Right, you're like the
that's just
wires and smaller stuff.
it's not that hard for
Hmm.
but for it's harder for me to make it look really good than it is to get all of this geometry in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Dirk in chat says if you redo the lighting on this one, he thinks it could be your coolest prop, just because like you have such. I'm assuming it's because you have such like shape variety, but then there's also a ton of like roughness variation in between the different types of materials. Like this specific image we're
That's
looking
something
at
to think
right now
about.
on stream is really good. I wonder if like, let me see if I can, because I think if you just did a like, even if you didn't have the ability to redo the lighting on it, just like a levels pass could be good. Let's see
The
here.
hard part for me with that one is just the infinity edges that I know I'd have to basically remodel half of it in order to fix those, and it just makes me want to die thinking about doing that. So I just
Yeah, it's like okay, that I think that's what like because Dirks has some experience with this, with just working on stuff and finishing it up, and I think with him saying like, oh yeah, if you just adjust the lighting, like that alone would do uh, a lot for the entire scene without having to like go
it was
nuts
actually
on the
a bit of an experiment when I did
yeah.
that. I wanted to know, all right, what do you need to bake for sure, and what can you get away with not baking?
Right. Yeah, I mean when I
And so
look at
like the
this
sphere is
asset,
obviously baked from a high res.
this guy here, yeah.
Yeah, and it just looks completely insane next to the other stuff, right? It just
Yeah, see, when you look at details like this, uh, these don't have to be baked, in my opinion. Like, there's a seam here, but like these don't have to be baked. I think when they get this big, you could just pay for the bevels, like the beveling and like weighting the normals on these edges is gonna actually probably be the same cost or cheaper than rendering another normal map if you want to think about it like that. You could just
actually I
add
just watched your
some
video on
bevels.
that, so it's just actually very relevant.
Oh yeah. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think this looks pretty cool. It just needs that little extra love, but I totally understand if if you don't want to touch it anymore. Um what's what do you want to jump onto next? You were saying something about the future.
I actually have a blog post.
Yeah.
I'm doing the work in progress thing there.
Oh, nice. Oh man, you're doing like sub D and all that
This might be
stuff.
right with DEF alley, so I decided to make a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's super cool. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, this guns are nice cuz like you can really focus on material work, and the surfaces can be
The first
quite
post actually
simple.
has, if you scroll down, there's the
Mm.
original. There you go.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, that's awesome.
Even further down is the concept I'm going off of.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to like texturing this, you'll want to look at references of things you're going off of. Also, the we have that poly count budget page now, so you can see like how high poly you can actually go without it being
I
crazy.
wanted to ask about that because I saw that and I was like, where's the information about how many texture sheets you should use? Because I didn't
Oh
see
yeah,
that anywhere. And I was like, man, that would be
that's a
really
whole
helpful to
other
have.
conversation. But that's a good point. We can I'm gonna write that in your chat so I don't forget. But you're talking texture res and like how many unique textures?
Yeah,
Because
that's what that would be.
yeah, because it's also really dependent on what it's for. Like if it's first person versus third person, that type of stuff. That's when it starts getting into the that territory of like, okay,
Yeah,
how
for
high
this, I'm
res
not
do I
really
go? And
considering
yeah,
any budget. I'm just gonna go crazy.
yeah, okay, okay, cool. I mean, dude, I'm looking forward to this. I think I'm going to try to contact the next person in the call, which I think is Ghost, and I think Ghost is in chat, so we can probably chat here in a second. But do you have any other questions before we jump over?
I guess just in general, if you had the body of work that I'm working with here, what would you do with it?
So okay, so what I'm seeing in your portfolio, I think if you took the Santa's workshop in these three, and the wire cutter, I would hide everything else. Not delete it or anything, but it's just not. It just doesn't feel like it's on the caliber that the rest of your stuff is working at right now. And for
Mm,
people that are scared about deleting stuff, just don't delete it. Just hide it. You can always turn it back on if it stresses you out. But yeah, I think the your more recent stuff is
yeah, I
pretty
just want
strong.
for this at least wanted
Mm.
to give more of a representation of the, you know, full picture, I guess.
Oh, you mean like what you do or what you've done before and where you're at now?
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what
Mm.
I was going for.
Yeah, and I mean that's totally okay. The other chat's like I love deleting my old work. uh, I mean I probably need to do that in my portfolio. There's some really old stuff in there, but I think I would just continue forward. I see the quality going up, and it's more like okay, do you want to do stylized or realistic, and just kind of like pointing in a direction because you can always point in the other direction later if you want to. But I think if you're really trying to push your materials, going for realistic before going stylized will help you, uh, I guess, push your stylized further once you fully understand how your PBR is working.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think for the gun, I was actually thinking about if you look at the futuristic motorcycle, it kind of rides the border between stylized and realistic,
yeah, it's
which I
like
kind of
hyper
like
real.
that visual look. So you talk about yeah, like developing some kind of a style, and I think if I made the gun in a similar texturing to this, I think it would fit into almost the same type of
That would
universe.
that
Would
would
be a
look
cool
pretty
idea.
cool, man. I think that would look really good. As I could really like this shot here. But yeah, I would go that direction. This motorcycle's dope. But cool. Okay. Well, ping me if you have more questions or if something wasn't clear. I can message you back and we can look further into it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I also want to just say thank you for the Discord community, Twitch, and all the stuff that you do for everybody. I don't think everyone realizes how amazing it is having a resource like this, and just thanks for everything.
No, is no problem. I enjoy it way too much. I actually yeah, I don't know. I'll save it. But thank you. I was like, "Oh, keep your cool, Dan. Keep your cool." But all right.
All right, man.
I'll talk to you later. Thanks for submitting your portfolio.
Yeah, thank you for reviewing.
All right, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. It's like, oh man,